Hey guys, Jason for TheChartGuys taking a quick look at Tesla. Yesterday we were talking about hopefully setting that higher low. We didn't get a higher low yet, but we get a confirmation of support. We got a double bottom on the daily, 225.78. That's going to be a key level for us. Should we get back down here tomorrow? The more time something acts as support, the stronger a support and the more reliable of a support it is. Inversely, when you see that finally break, it does usually have some pretty large consequences. So we are going to be in a daily uptrend as long as we stay over 225.78. Bulls have a lot of work to do, as we talked about yesterday. Getting back to 246.68 for a new higher high is going to be the requirement. We still have EMA 12 and 26 to contend with as resistance levels. And on the 4-hour time frame, we're still looking at 4-hour lower highs, lower lows, and that is going to continue until bulls get over top of 233. Here is that support right there. The low is hidden. 222.75, and we'll go check out the hourly time frame. Looks like we're trying for a hourly trend change, and here is that look. Nice little inverse head and shoulders with a new higher low and a higher high. So now to see good follow through on this, we need to break 233 to the upside, which will take us for a converted hourly trend change. Carry that over into the 4-hour, and then what do you got? You got continuation of your daily levels. So let's see if that happens. If we lose 225.78, next support is 222.25. Below that, we don't have anything to 217.35. If bulls manage to pull things off, keep an eye on the EMA resistances currently sitting at 237.09 and 237.37. Those will change tomorrow, but just watch those. Those are the EMA 12 and 26. 4-hour resistance is going to be found most predominantly at 236.27. So that's it for today. Good setups, good potential, and a couple of key supports for us to be noting and watching for in tomorrow's trading action. Good luck. Hey guys, Jason for TheChartGuys here. Yesterday's walkthrough of Apple didn't really work out the way we anticipated. It was a good lesson in planning, but we had a strong open, and the overall market saw a strong open, dragging a lot of these names with it. Overall today, though, we saw a nice green close, and we had an inside bar setup, which is great. Our RSI in the daily is 42.14, so right near the mid-range, right where we want to be. We want to watch these inside bar levels. These are going to be important for us going into tomorrow's action, and hopefully we can open right in these areas and see a break. A break will give us a little bit of an indication, possibly heads up as to what the market is going to do with Apple as we sit down here in this new area of price discovery and now inside bar consolidation. So let's check out the hourly time frame, see how we're doing. There's that big drop, our gap up in after hours, or a higher open rather. And we saw the high in the early morning, 198.07, and then a new higher low, and we're looking for a lower high to form right now. On the 15-minute time frame, more or less the same action. We saw that high, we saw a dip, and then we saw a move to the upside. So inside bar range has been set. Not a lot of definitive information here. Either way, tomorrow's action is going to be all about those inside bar levels. The perfect scenario, we open right inside this range, and then we get a knockout one of these two levels. And that will tell us, in general, which direction the market wants to take things. Let's see if this works out. And if it does, we'll have a good walkthrough of this lesson. Let's look for some key resistances to see if we have any to work for on the hourly time frame. Should we go break bull? Our resistance, of course, 198.07, and then I'm also going to be looking at this after hours level, psychological 200, very, very important. And then way down here, all the way down, the extreme low, 187.05. We'll see what happens. All about that inside bar action tomorrow, and see if this general market can show us a little bit of continued strength in light of all of this economic worldwide turmoil that, to be honest with you, I don't pay much attention to. All right, thank you guys. Have a good night. Hey guys, Jason here for TheChartGuys taking a look at Netflix, and I'm going to start in the hourly time frame because I want to give you a lesson in just how wishy-washy and subjective trend lines can be. If you've never watched these channels before, or my videos anyway, I use dashed lines to represent trend lines that I'm not very confident in. So in this case, we can see that we opened below, and then we got right back above, held a support test, and then moved on to close out the day, looking a little bit better. But what I want to do is just show you how subjective these can be. If I want to move this down to this level, that will contain all of my action. And you can say, great trend line, Jason, you did it. You found the key. Yeah, but you know what? Also, I can go back up here, and then I can connect right to this low. I can say, here is opening resistance and support. We bounced off this level, and it was great. Or we can just move right up even further to connect there and say, look, there's support. Here's a little bit more support. We saw some resistance, and here's some more resistance. It's all subjective. What we need to do is not be using these trend lines as definitive pieces of information. We just want to use it to contain price action and recognize when the pattern of behavior overall shifts. So I'm not going to necessarily short or buy into this stock just because it crosses a trend line and I'm expecting a great rocket ship to the glorious cold mountains. I don't know, going on a tangent now, but watch these levels, see how the price interacts when you get down to this trend line. What happens when you get into that area where you expect to see a little bit of support? Do you find any? If not, don't play them. If you do see some support, you got that backup, you know that you potentially have found a little trend line area of support, and you can play that accordingly. But just don't be afraid to move things around. This is not going to be set in stone. It's going to be subjective. It's going to be different for a lot of people. And just remember that you need to play the price action around these potential areas of support and resistance. Anyway, I'm rambling on now. Let's look at the daily time frame, and I'm going to delete this because it's going to mess up the daily chart. It's not going to look very good. Netflix daily, we saw support over here from the other day. We broke it by a little bit in yesterday's trading action. But what's important is that we've set up an inside bar, and I'm seeing a lot of inside bars all over the place today. So I'm going to grab this line, and I'm going to mark out my key levels for my inside bars. If it will let me clone it. Let's see, there we go. And the inside bar is just a different way of representing an EQ pattern of sorts. It's a tightening range. It's giving you key levels and a little bit of direction on what the market is going to do. So here's our resistance. Today's high day, 311.88. Today's low day, 305.30. Those will be key for tomorrow. Breaking either of those is going to be the break of the inside bar, giving you a little bit of a heads up and potential direction for the rest of the trading day. And then we got resistance 1313. 313.42 and 304.68 acting as support. Let's go to the hourly time frame, see if we can get a little sense of direction here. Not a lot. We came down. We get a double bottom support of that lower day, pre-market level. Looks like that held. Bulls were happy with that move, went to the upside, but then we got into a little bit of a weakening pattern, not being able to get over 311.88. So that resistance is still very much in play. And we got a little bit, possibly a 5-minute. There it is, a 5-minute descending wedge showing that double bottom support. We get a higher low over 305.30. We see that hold, and then we see that upside move. So there's our resistance, 311.88 on the daily. That's what it's all about. It's nice bullish strength coming into the end of the day. Let's see what the bulls do tomorrow morning. Are they able to break that inside bar to the upside? If they are able to do that, we will be looking for setups and potential counter trends to the overall shift to the bulls. We'll see how that works out. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you want to learn charts, just Google technical analysis. There's tons of stuff out there. I don't want to plug my own stuff, but I just want people to learn. Charts can be incredible. They're fun to watch, fun to talk about. Maybe that's why I'm boring at parties. That's it. Have a good night. Hey guys, Jason for Chart Guys checking in on Amazon. Yesterday we talked about this nice indecision candlestick with a big gap down on big volume, and we said, you know what, this is ripe for a nice bounce. We saw a big flush at some point during the day. I haven't looked at the sub time frame a little bit, but we saw that big flush and the bulls answered back in a pretty big way. Even though we saw some weakness toward the end, I think the bulls showed up a little bit, and we definitely need to take a look at that 5-minute action. Daily supports and resistances, 17.48, 78 is going to be a key level for us. Also, today's high day is going to come into play, 17.93.77. And then I'm also going to spend some time looking at 17.88.67, yesterday's high day, to see that that has acted as a support level or resistance level for us today on the smaller time frame action. So let's just jump into 15 minutes, see what happened today. Here's that after hours dip. We went all the way down to 17.18. Market woke up happy, a little bit stronger, and we saw a high early morning, 17.93.77. We flushed quickly to the downside, and this is where we get that big lower wick. Bulls stepped in a big way, bought up a lot, got into a nice consolidation pattern, and we set that afternoon high of 17.92.72. So I use afternoon highs and lows as a good barometer for my 5-minute action on the next day, and I look at those levels and they come into play quite often, so they're good to note. I'm not going to mark them on the daily time frame, but if you're in a 5-minute pattern and you're coming up against a high RSI area resistance and you're looking at this at 17.92, I would bail on a trade and I would re-enter if we got a successful break of that level. I would use those levels to plan some exits and some entries, and just wait to see how it plays out once we get to those key levels of resistance. So where are we on the 15-minute time frame? Daily, the levels are the same. 1753.40 might be a good level for us to watch as the low of today's action. And in fact, that should have already been marked out. I'm not sure why it's not, but there we are. Low support 1753.40. Let's go back to our daily time frame. There we go. We should have marked that out. Overall, today's lesson is all about the fact that the bulls answered back. There was a huge flush, and they bought this up in a big way. Now, if this was a green close with a perfect Marabuzzo bullish power close, we would look for momentum into tomorrow. I'm a little concerned about it being down at this level. It's still a little bit of indecision for me, but this was, if it was green or anywhere else, we would call this a momentum hammer. And a momentum hammer is when the bears attack, they push the price down, and bulls say, absolutely not. We're going to carry it all the way back up and then some, closing green. We didn't get that close, but 5-minute time frame. Let's go take a look at that. There is that flush. We get that trend change, higher low 1755.68. Boom, bull flag. Boom, 15-minute consolidation. Absolutely beautiful. Keep an eye on this guy for tomorrow. A lot of good momentum here. If the bulls can show up and show some strength and some commitment and break that high day pretty early, look for a nice pullback. Look for those trend changes and start looking for some good long entries, assuming that that market, the overall market, S&P, helps prop up that sort of move. But good response to oversold conditions yesterday. Good flush, good bounce opportunities. And as always, the market provides. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.